It's the Full Court Press with Eric Franson and Jason Walker.
Welcome back to the to the show that we're doing right now.
Following the local teams, breaking down the biggest games with in-depth analysis and team interviews.
There's going to be much higher expectations, sense of awareness of what we bring to the table.
Join the show by calling into 435-752-1069 or text 435-339-0321. It's the Full Court Press.
Throws, ends it, yes! Caught! Touchdown, did he get it?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Full Court Press. Jason Walker here with you, and Eric Franson is out of town. But fear not, because we have found a replacement for Eric Franson. I have with me Jacob Nielsen. I don't know if I can give you a short introduction with all the different things you do with sports. Definitely very involved around here in Cache Valley sports. I'll let you give yourself the introduction.
Yeah, so it's a pleasure to be on here, Jason. Long-time listener, first-time participant on the show, So I do a lot of stuff for different publications, KSL, Herald Journal. I'm also a student at the university, still trying to get my degree. You know a little bit about that, the long drag of
it's
the bachelor of the undergrad degree. But happy to be on talking local sports. This is what it's about.
Yeah, a lot going on. I've got Utah Jazz stuff. We'll talk a little bit about men's basketball. I want to kind of get, you coming on, I want to talk a little more because I want to get your opinion on some of the basketball stuff. Because we've had some conversations, so I want to get your opinion on it. The women's basketball team plays tomorrow. They officially start tomorrow. They have an exhibition game against Fort Lewis College. Also, we'll maybe talk some of... There's at least one thing in the NBA I kind of want to talk about. I don't know if controversy is the right word. It's just kind of interesting. It's a question of sportsmanship.
We talking a little Steve Nash here and his little tantrum, or?
No. Oh, did I miss something else? No, it's Pacers Bulls.
Ooh.
It's the ending of that game, which it was a blowout, but there's something that happened at the end. So we'll get to that. We'll also talk reluctantly on my part, Major League Baseball. Jacob wanted to talk about that, and since Eric would have talked about it, I figured it was fitting that since he couldn't be here, we'd allow Jake to bring in his passion for baseball. We can talk the World Series, which starts tomorrow, right?
That's right.
Phillies and Astros. So we'll definitely talk about that. And then some NFL as well. What's going on? We're approaching halfway point of the season. There's not really I guess there's kind of an official halfway. It's week 9 now, I guess, because it used to be 17 weeks. So there wasn't a halfway. Now we kind of have one, but I think we're in week 8 now. I think. Something like that. So we're getting into the meat of it. We'll talk some, what's going on, what surprises there have been, what surprises have kind of stayed surprises. Because we had this conversation a few weeks ago. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But first, the Utah Jazz. I don't know what's going on with the Jazz. It's just weird that they started 3-0, then they lose to the Rockets. Now they beat the Rockets. So, I guess, have you been following the Jazz very closely?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, the high school group chat, it's dead all season long, all year long, and then all of a sudden the Jazz get out to a 4-1 start, and it's just blowing up. Just kids I haven't talked to in 2 years just blowing up my phone. The Jazz, they're supposed to tank, but they're winning these games. So, Of course, I'm dialed in. How can you not be with how fun this team's been so far this year?
So there was one clip I wanted to play. So it was Malik Beasley. They had their media availability. It was either today or yesterday. And he's almost clapping back at that narrative of, this team is supposed to be bad. So here's what Malik Beasley was saying.
Coach did a great job explaining that this morning. He's tired of looking at media or even his friends telling him, wow, you guys are winning. This is crazy. No, it's not crazy. We're not even playing well and we're still winning. If you look at the spacing and then look at the ways we play, we still have to make a lot of mistakes, but we all make it up for each other on defense or offense. Passing, making an extra pass, taking a foul at the end of the game. Mike Conley when he took that foul. on Rudy Gobert. So just little plays like that make a huge difference.
What's the message there? Is that Will that you're talking about?
Yes, coach.
Is the message there like, hey, I'm tired of them being surprised?
Yeah, we're tired of people being surprised. He said that all the good teams are getting in rhythm, and we're not even in rhythm. So we're a good team too, and that's his message, and I'll stand by it 100%. We're not just a team out here just playing. We're here to get wins.
So my number one takeaway from that clip is the fact that Malik Beasley said Rudy Gobert.
He's got to put some respect on the name of the 3-time Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, it was like that one guy. It was some guy, I can't remember what he was doing, but he was like, I don't know, doing some NBA 2K, and he was pulling like cards or something like that, and people like Rudy Gobert, and he's like, Rudy Gobert? Or maybe he was reacting to like NBA 2K ratings that were being released. I can't remember the exact context, but it was just this guy like, Rudy Gobert? So that's just what it reminded me of. But still, it kind of goes with these players where, what all the fans are thinking, okay, we're tanking. It seems like the GM's doing this, the typical stealth tank where you trade away all your good players and, you have a purposefully bad team. And so the GM's trying to tank and the fans want the team to tank, but the players and coaches, that's not what they're doing. They want to win, so Malik Beasley, obviously, he's kind of mad that they know the narrative, and they're kind of mad about it.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of these players have a lot of seasons under their belt, and guys like Beasley and Mark Cannon and Kelly Olynyk, these are guys that have played on good teams before and have produced on good teams. So it's not like it's just a group. It doesn't look like the Spurs roster where you look at the Spurs and you're like, even them, they're getting some wins early, which is shocking as well. So maybe not the best comparison, but that's a roster you look at and you're like, yeah, they're not winning any games. And this roster doesn't have any of the star power, but you have a lot of depth on it still, and you just look up and down the lineup, and there's just a lot of guys that can play basketball that came in through some of these trades. And I think we overlooked that a little bit when they were all announced in the summer. Yeah,
I think we did overlook them because there's a lot of good, rotation players that we didn't expect to be able to step up into good roles, but they are. Larry Markkinen doing really well there. Mike Conley, he's been in a leading role, so he's still doing what he's doing. Then Kelly Olynyk, he kind of stepped into a bigger role a little bit when he was with the Rockets. Of course, that was another team where he was on a really bad team, and he was scoring a bunch of points and whatnot. There are guys who can definitely perform and are kind of outperforming. Or maybe they weren't. Maybe they were just always kind of held back by their roles. That's definitely a possibility. If you guys want to text in about the Jazz or any of the topics we're going to talk about today, you can text in at 435-339-0321. We had one text come in a little bit before the show, 7966. He's asking if the podcast from yesterday's show, he's asking if it's up yet. It's not. Eric being out of town, it's normally his responsibility to post the show, and I probably should have taken over that responsibility with him going out of town, but I kind of forgot about it, so that's on me. I'll probably see if I can put it up tomorrow along with this show. We'll have to ask Eric for help on that one because I haven't done it yet. So still new here. So we'll try and get those podcasts of previous shows up. If you guys want to look at any of the previous shows from earlier in the week, you can check those out at 1069thefan.com. We did have another text, and you're already taking some flack, Jake. 4781, he says, did Jake just pronounce Markkinen as Markkanen?
Hey, listen, here's the dealio. I'm traditionally a print journalist type. I don't have to worry about pronunciation. Don't have to worry about how I say things as long as it's spelled right. So get thrown on here, and it's a whole new ballgame. So, yeah, bring the heat. I want every bit of it, but yeah, I gotta work on my Finnish pronunciation, I think. Yeah. So, and 471, he says, "Okay, I forgive you." Oh, thank you.
And I understand it too. Like when you mention, like he also says, "For now." So you've got to learn.
I'm
now.
on thin ice.
But yeah, I do understand that where, we have to learn how to spell names and learn how to type them fast. Even these really weird names, like, learning how to type Antetokounmpo or all the different names, Utah State, where you learn how to spell them, but you don't know how to say them. And the one thing I've said plenty of times is, it's great that the game is getting international, and you get a lot of different people from a lot of diverse countries, backgrounds, ethnicities, and whatnot, it does make it a lot harder for me, to pronounce their names, because used to be everyone was named Russell and Chamberlain and Ruth and Jeter and all these different names were pretty easy to say, and now it's Giannis Antetokounmpo, Victor Wembanyama, Lauri Markkanen, which, again, it's brought a lot of great players into sports, which is wonderful. There's just that small downside for us to have to actually say their names out loud.
Well, it's even happened on a smaller level just with Utah State. We just used to pronounce Carol and Merrill.
Yeah.
And now is it Keta or Keta? I spent 3 years covering the dude, and I still can't tell you which one it was.
Yeah, I'm still not sure either, because I heard it both ways.
Shimon Zapala?
Yeah, that took
That's
me
a tough one.
Well, the other year, Raleigh Wooster, I spent the entire offseason thinking his name was Worcester.
It's just like Worcester sauce, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like, no, it's Wooster. Okay, and that's even an English name.
That's the foreign land of Montana, though.
They do things different up there, man. They do things different. So, yeah, and I'm still at this point trying to figure out Dan Akin. I don't know if it's Dan Akin or Akin or Akin or I don't know for sure.
Well, it's Don Akin because he's British, right?
Yeah, he is British.
That was my best attempt at a British accent.
I don't know. You might be on strike too now.
Oh, man.
We'll see. But anyway, so I guess with the Jazz, I guess the question is, are the Jazz a good team? Is that a question we can answer at this point? Are they a good team?
The sample size is too small, I think. I don't know. They started 3-0 against 3 probable playoff teams, so
yeah,
potentially.
That's the thing that made me question is because, yeah, you mentioned the 3 teams. The Timberwolves, Nuggets, and the Pelicans. Not necessarily in that order. And they beat them. Teams that I know at least 2 of those are at least kind of expected preseason to maybe be not just playoff teams, but home court advantage playoff teams. And the Pelicans were kind of expected to be in that playoff range as well. Maybe not top 4, but at least in the playoffs. So it's like they beat those 3. They did pretty good. And then, you can kind of say, well, the Rockets game was fatigue. It was, back-to-back. And I think it was like 3rd game in 5 days or something like that. Or maybe 3rd game in 4 days. They've now played, after beating the Rockets yesterday, it's 4 games in 6 days for them. So they had pretty rough stretch there where they were playing a lot. So maybe you can say that's fatigue and then maybe say, all right, well, this team is good.
No, the back-to-back end of a road trip, that was their first loss to the Rockets, and it's still a close game, 6-point game. And the Rockets, I thought that the first game of the back-to-back that they played against Houston, I thought the Rockets played really well. I'm looking right now. For some reason, I thought that they shot just the roof out of the place in the Toyota Center, and that's not quite the case. They were only 11 to 35, 31%. But that was a game where it just felt like every time the Jazz tried to make a push, Houston just matched it, right? And so then last night, it's kind of maybe a similar thing. The Jazz kind of had a hold of that game. They were up big, and then Houston just kept making plays and coming back in that one.
Yeah, and I think the Jazz have had a couple of games where they let the team back in. I know against the Pelicans, they had the big lead, kind of let them back in. Maybe shades of last year's team for some reason, even though there's a lot of new players. But I guess the difference is they've generally pulled it out. They pulled out against the Pelicans. They won in overtime against the Timberwolves. And then they beat the Rockets, held them off. So it was kind of interesting in that case. I know in that first game, I guess they just let Kevin Porter Jr. and Jalen Green just go off. Jalen Green, every time I watch Jalen Green, I'm just surprised by how quick he is. It's insane. The guy's just got serious get up and go. Although he's kind of an inconsistent shooter, I think, at this point in his career. But, yeah, I think they just had a game where they just let a couple guys get hot and they were tired. And then they were a little more in control, being at home. Still maybe a little tired, which may explain why they were still sort of letting the Rockets stay in the game for a lot of it. But I think overall, in the small sample size we have, they're equivalent to a playoff team. Now, we have a long ways to go, but we'll see. Anyway, we got a few more texts rolling in. 4781. Texting in again, say, if the Jazz make it out of the next 14 games with an 8-6 record or better, I think we can say they are pretty good. And, I'm definitely inclined to agree because their early schedule is rough. They play a lot of playoff teams. Their next game is against the Nuggets again. And they just keep playing a bunch of playoff teams. They have probably one of the hardest schedules, like all the way through December.
Well, it's brutal. I mean, they go back to Denver, and then what's waiting for them on the other side? Jean Moran and the Grizz. They got to play the Memphis Grizzlies back-to-back games. And it just, the Clippers come after that, and they do get the Lakers in there, which is looking like that's...
yeah, that's looking a little easier.
That's looking a little easier. The whole joke with the Lakers is they were going to tank too, but they don't have their draft pick this year. So they're going to...
Pelicans got it.
The Pelicans feeling absolutely great about that. That came from the Anthony Davis trade a few years ago, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing is, it's kind of a shame from our perspective that the Lakers won that title in the bubble because it completely justifies that trade. If they don't win that championship, holy cow, heads would probably have already rolled by now. Because there would have been no justification for that trade. You're mortgaging your future, and they're still trying to figure out something. There's Laker fans that are trying to dig up trades for Russell Westbrook that don't involve them sending all of their picks. Their 2027, 2029 picks, which at this point are looking valuable. Because it may be the Lakers, in the top 5 of the lottery in both those seasons. Potentially. So, the Lakers are lucky they got that championship. So otherwise, it would have been nuts.
No, they got to be pleased about that. But, I mean, you could still have the conversation. It was a bubble championship, an asterisk, right? I mean, you weren't playing in front of fans. They had 3 months off to get their team rested and healthy. You could make I'm no Lakers hater here. I mean, maybe a little bit.
Maybe a little bit.
Maybe a little bit. But, they didn't have to go through the battle of an 82-game season and then into a playoff. They had an extended break in there, and I think that for a team with LeBron James and just some of the veterans they had on that roster, I think that was the best thing for them, and I don't think they even win that year, if not for the bubble.
Yeah, and I think especially for Anthony Davis, because he's been kind of the linchpin for whether or not the Lakers are good or not. Because when he's been kind of that old Anthony Davis we saw mostly with the Pelicans, then that was when the Lakers were at their best. I think they were like the number 1 seed that year. They were doing good in the regular season. But like so many other years with Anthony Davis on the Lakers, he keeps getting injured. But they were able to keep him healthy with that long extended break. So,
yeah, when you're built with popsicle sticks and hot glue stuck together, that's what it feels like with Anthony Davis.
And Anthony Davis is supposed to be like the best player in the league, and he just feels like he's completely washed up now. And he's still on the right side of 30, I'm pretty sure. And he just feels like an old, again, washed up. It's kind of sad. Because I have nothing against Anthony Davis, except for the fact that he's now on the Lakers. So, got some more texts coming in. 5452 says, what is going on? Where are Eric and Ajay? The takeover is complete. We've successfully pushed out.
Yeah, the Utah Statesman is fully taken over.
There we go. The old Utah Statesman guys. That's how it is. It's where we got our start. Now we're here. I don't know if I want to say started at the bottom. I don't know if the Utah Statesman's the bottom.
Hey, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere. It's really good for a student paper. There's a lot of places that don't quite match that. A lot of good coverage there. So, a few more texts. 4781 says, watch the Jazz beat the Grizzlies back-to-back with a point margin of 30. That would just be the thing, right? Just blow out the Grizzlies. Because, what else do we need for a crazy season?
Why not?
Yeah, just why not? Why not at this point? We've already thrown the tank out the window. Why don't we just go to the finals? I don't know what I would do if the Jazz somehow made it like the Western Conference Finals or heaven forbid the finals themselves. Like I'd probably just laugh. There's nothing else I could do. Just be like, This was supposed to be our worst season ever.
Just the bit that it just kept going.
Yeah. It's like when what was it, Leicester City or however you say that, the Premier League team, the like
That's
1,000 to 1 odds, and they win the table. Nuts. 5254 says I'm not exactly sure what this says. Rune, let's go to a Jazz game.
That might be a buddy of mine trying to.
Oh.
Yeah, well, I might have some friends listening in.
You just might.
Got some shooters out there.
5254 also says, also, AD hasn't been a reliable option since the bubble. Yeah, that's kind of what you're saying. He was good in the bubble, and he's just been broken down ever since. I don't know. Can't have everything. Lakers spent like 2 seasons trying to bring Anthony Davis. They finally got him, got 1 championship, and nothing else. And they sold their souls for him.
Hey, but, I mean, a fan base like the Lakers probably wouldn't take that, but the Jazz would take something like that.
Yeah, the Toronto Raptors certainly took theirs. And the
Certainly
Jazz
did.
Jazz would as well, but when you're Lakers and you have all those banners, one is never enough. 9938, he says, I find it funny LeBron can't hype his team this year. He did it last year, and it bit him in the butt. Yeah, like when he was, like that preseason tweet, like, keep that same energy and all that stuff.
That's right.
Yeah, right now the Lakers are, at least through 4 games, they're 0-4, and they're, at this point, on pace to be the worst shooting team in history. So, yeah.
I have a fundamental question about Russell Westbrook. Westbrook. I know he's never traditionally been a great shooter, and he's now far past his prime, and the poor guy, we're going to tell our kids that Russell Westbrook used to be the most exciting, dynamic player in the NBA, and they're not going to believe us, because his lasting legacy is just going to be just these sloppy highlights from his time at the Lakers.
Yeah, maybe we'll see. I don't know. It's kind of how like a lot of legends go out. They go out usually hobbling up and down the court, and then maybe they go out in a. I almost used a phrase that probably would have been inappropriate for Kobe Bryant. Because he went out 60 points. And so that was his ending to his career. So he did well. John Elway goes out.
He did kind of milk the last 6 seasons of his career, though.
Yeah, but still, he goes out. Everyone can say, okay, 60 points. They know that he certainly struggled. But for most people, Carmelo Anthony, what is he now? He's at best a spark bench scorer. He's still with the Lakers, isn't he? I don't know what he's doing these days. But it took him several years to finally admit to himself what he was. He wasn't, 27 points per game Melo.
I'm not sure if he's come to that realization yet. I think that he's just the coaching staff he just does what he's told now.
Yeah. Who knows? Yeah, there's just a lot of players that go out on a low note because they can't play anymore. Tom Brady's starting to go through that now. He might have finally hit the wall. We'll see if he accepts that. But I think Westbrook, his legacy will endure. He'll be the triple-double king. And it depends on whether or not somebody else is able to replicate, because triple-doubles are starting to they're starting to become more common. More players are doing them more so than they used to. We're increasing the pace, and we're starting to have more heliocentric, stars where they're also passing, and that helps them get the other end of that triple-double. But if nobody else really does the same thing Westbrook does, I think he'll go down kind of in a similar way as Oscar Robertson did, where I don't really remember anything that Robertson did, even though I think he won an NBA title, if I remember correctly. But he's remembered for that one season where he averaged a triple-double. And Russell Westbrook will be remembered for the 2 seasons that he did it. So we'll see. But obviously all of us will remember these days.
We got a text from 4781. The Jazz gifted Kobe that 60-point game. I actually agree with that. That season, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Jazz were at the cusp of making the playoffs, right? And then they lost a game to the Clippers, I want to say. at home
Yeah,
right
like
before that Lakers game.
It was like the Clippers, all their like second team. They benched all their guys because I think they'd clinched a playoff seed.
Yeah,
So
and
the
the Jazz were up big in that game too, and they blew it down the stretch, and so they came into LA, the Staples Center, just heartbroken, they're just totally gut wrenched because they thought they had a shoe into the playoffs and they blew it, and they kind of they were like, all right, have at it, Kobe.
Yes, that's the thing is I can never feel good about that Kobe game because it came against the Jazz because I was so frustrated by it. It's just like I can't go back and watch because that shouldn't have happened.
And then the Gordon Hayward, the free throw violation. Do you remember this?
No, I don't.
I hope I'm not making something up, but in the fourth quarter when Kobe was shooting free throws, Gordon Hayward stepped over the line, and I believe Kobe made it, but it looked like Hayward purposely did it so if he missed it, he'd get another shot to get the point margin.
Come on, Hayward. Stop sucking up to other guys.
Yeah.
Just nuts. Have another text, and it's related to something I said yesterday. Said maybe the Lakers need to wear Jason's drenched sweatband. Surely it is a lucky sweatband. So I brought this up yesterday because we were talking about playing, I think about back-to-backs. I mentioned that when I was like in high school, I played back-to-back like rec league games, on the same day, double header. And by the end, I was wearing a sweatband. I was able to literally wring it out, and so it became 7994. You can see some of his earlier texts. I should tell you though that sweatband was not lucky. We lost both of those games, so not lucky.
That's tough. Back-to-back losses.
I know. In the second one, yeah, it was kind of we were probably more tired than we were willing to admit, and because the first one was close, and the second one we hung with them, and then just kind of faded away, and they pulled away. So that sweatband was not lucky. So shouldn't do it.
You know, Jason, I will say though, I've played pickup basketball with you at different churches around campus in the past couple of years, and you know, you're a workhorse out there, getting up and down the court. You're a warrior. I don't think you need a lucky sweatband.
I still try and wear the sweatband sometimes. Or, yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't call myself a workhorse because a lot of times I get tired because I'm a little out of shape. It comes in spurts. So 4781, he's confirming you weren't making it up about Hayward because he says Hayward did it on purpose. So I think your story is accurate. We're gonna take a quick break though. We'll get back to some of your texts. Then we'll get into maybe some more NBA. Then got a lot of stuff about Utah State football, Utah State basketball. We'll get all of that going here in the first hour. But first, a break on 106.9 The Fan.
Fall is in the air and it's getting colder. Make sure your vehicle is well maintained. Valvoline Instant Oil Change in Logan across from Angie's can help. As the weather turns colder, your car needs more babying and an oil change is easy. They'll change your oil and also check other fluid levels and replace your air filters if needed. The best thing, you can stay in your car while their trained professionals service your vehicle. Valvoline Instant Oil Change, 695 North Main, open 7 days a week.
You've been putting up with a dirty, dusty wood stove for years. Why haven't you changed it? Go to Advanced Fireplace and Stove in Logan. Look through their showroom for ideas on Quadra-Fire pellet and wood stoves and Heat and Glow gas fireplaces. They have several demos in place so you can see firsthand how your project will look. And you can trust the pros at Advanced Fireplace and Stove. They'll do the job right. Advanced Fireplace and Stove. 752-7272. Online at advancedfireplaceandstove.com.
Advanced Heating and AC, the two-time gold medal winner in Best in Northern Utah. They're teaming up with Carrier Heating and Cooling. Carrier provides you the best furnace units available, and now's the best time to buy a new unit before the weather turns Cache Valley cold. Financing options are available. Turn to the experts at Advanced Heating and Carrier. Advanced Heating and Air Conditioning, 752-7272, or stop by their showroom west of DI and online at advancedheating-ac.com.
We're not comfortable until you are. Advanced Heating and Air.
This is James Stevens with White Pine Funeral Services. We are humbled by and grateful for the tremendous support we have been shown since opening our doors nearly 2 years ago. So we just want to say thank you. On behalf of everyone at White Pine, first and foremost, thank you for allowing us the honor and privilege of serving you and caring for your loved ones. Additionally, thank you for voting White Pine the best mortuary in Cache Valley in both 2021 and 2022.
White Pine Funeral Services, here when you need us most.
Thermo Fisher Scientific is hiring for their manufacturing, distribution, and warehouse team. And that's great news for anyone seeking a rewarding career. Thermo Fisher offers positions across multiple shifts, competitive compensation, health benefits, paid time off, bonuses, and an excellent work environment. Help Thermo Fisher make the world healthier, cleaner, and safer. Visit job.thermofisher.com and search Logan. Thermo Fisher Scientific is an equal opportunity employer.
This is The Herd.
Attention listeners.
With Colin Cowherd.
Dak Prescott makes $40 million a year, and it cannot beat good teams since his rookie year. Here is Dak Prescott versus playoff teams in his career. 12-21. What is he, Kirk Cousins on Monday Night Football? Oh, wait. That's actually what I've compared him to the last 2 years.
This is The Herd.
Weekdays from 10 to 1 on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan. The Full Court Press. Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and online at 1069thefan.com.
The new Valvoline Instant Oil Change is across from Angie's on Main Street in Logan. Valvoline Synthetic and Valvoline Max Life are the engine oil your vehicle loves. It's actually where I get my oil change usually. I need to go get my oil change, so.
You know, I went there last time I got my oil changed, actually.
Yeah.
It's a good place.
Remember going there right when they opened up. It's been years, so I think since they've opened up. But anyway, so I want to talk a little bit of a little more NBA. Well, I do need to read this text from 7994. Still on my apparently my sweatband. It says then you talk about how it wasn't lucky because I lost both the games I played in with where it got really soaked. So 7994 suggests then please pass that sweatband to the Lakers. And unfortunately, I think that sweatband is long gone. This was probably 12 years ago. So it always amazes me how long it's been since I've been in high school, which I know for some people it's been longer for them, but I've already hit the 10-year anniversary.
Go to your 10-year reunion?
I completely forgot. I don't think they were able to get in contact with me because I never got a notification from it. I don't know if they were able to find me or if they didn't care, but I did not go to it. So
the kid from high school that works in media.
Yeah, the one
is
guy
uncontactable.
The one guy who actually I have something of a public presence. It's not a very big one, but I have one. But I'd completely forgotten about it because it was actually this summer. Graduated in 2012, and so in June or thereabouts, I imagine is when they probably would have had one. But I'm not on Facebook, so maybe they tried to contact me there. If they did, that was actually probably where they did it. But I'm on Facebook like once every 5 months.
You gotta log in, see if you got an invite or not.
I should probably go all the way back to all the messages and see if there's one from somebody. But my graduating class was also like 600 people. There's a lot of us.
Oh, you were a dart, huh?
Yeah, it's Davis High, so there's a lot of us. 4781, he texted and said, the Jazz are winning most likely because Conley got rid of his sweatband. What have I done? And we got rid of Royce O'Neal. He has his sweatband, so,
That's right.
I remember there was one game where LeBron James was facing against the Spurs when he was with Miami, and he lost his sweatband. It came off, and they went on a run and won the game. So we might have something going here. Get rid of the sweatband.
Get rid of the sweatbands.
Except it worked
bad
for
mojo.
Except it worked for Joe Ingles though. Headband Joe Ingles.
Headband Joe.
Yeah.
Against the Trailblazers, right?
Yeah, I can't remember exactly who it was, but yeah, just something. Because he had like his head cut or something like that. Had to get it wrapped up.
Yeah, a little bit more of like a bandage.
Yeah, like a bandage.
Sweatband than more of a cotton one, but.
Yeah. So there's one thing I wanted to bring up. I want to get your opinion, maybe some of your guys' opinion on this. So last night in what was, I'm sure, the game of the night that everyone wanted to watch, Pacers Bulls, headliner there. Bulls ended up winning that game 124-109. But with the end of the game, the Bulls had the ball. They were dribbling out the clock. Shot clock was off. Who was that had the ball? Dalen Terry of the Bulls. I don't know if I'm pronouncing these names right, so I'm now I've seen them written down, but I don't know if I'm saying them right. So he was dribbling out the ball just a little past half court, doing his thing, and he's being nominally guarded by rookie Benedict Mathurin. He was the 6th overall pick this last draft, so he's just entering his first season, just a few games in. Well, he's standing there nonchalant, like I said, nominally guarding him. But then all of a sudden he snaps into action, steals the ball, and then runs down and attempts to layup. He's actually fouled in the process by Terry. And then there's a camera shot of him, he's shooting his free throws, and one of the Bulls players is giving him guff, and he's pointing at the scoreboard. You can hear him or see him mouthing, "It's not over," or something to that effect. So it's I don't know, is this unsportsmanlike of him to, I know I have my opinion, but I want to hear what you have to say. Is this unsportsmanlike of him to do something like that?
I mean, this is one of those classic sports unwritten rule things, just let the ball dribble out. But you know what? I think that's all crap, right? Played till the final whistle. Absolutely. One of the best clips ever is, I think it was Stephen F. Austin. They were playing Kansas in a game a couple years back, and they were down by 30. And the SFA guy steals the ball similar to this clip, and he goes down, just throws just monster dunk down. And I'm like, when else is he going to have a chance to throw down a dunk in Allen Fieldhouse? Of course he should have done that. And I feel the same thing here. This kid coming out of Arizona, he's a rookie, and he's probably, I don't know his role on the team, but, he's trying to play as hard as he can and make a name for himself in the NBA. So, yeah, go after that ball. Get your points. Get your bag.
So, I have the opposite opinion on this one. Because, there's certain unwritten rules that I think are bullcrap. Like most of the ones in baseball, involving if you hit it, I'm all for the bat flip and the staring your home run down. Maybe don't stare down the pitcher. That's maybe, at least don't stare him down too much. Maybe glance at him. But enjoy your own work. Maybe you can get away with a little bit of showing up the opponent, because I'm sometimes a fan of in the NBA. They dunk on a guy, then they look at him and flex. Go Barry used to do that a lot, and get that a little bit because you've done something cool and you're not being too disrespectful of the opponent. But in this case, the Bulls are being sportsmanlike and deliberately not going for more points. They could say, all right, we want to win by 30. They were up 27. Let's hit a 3 and go up by 30. They didn't do that. And this kid, I don't even know if he's 20 years old yet. Maybe he is. I didn't look up his age. But, he's a rookie. I guess he was I think he was 2 years at Arizona, so he's probably 20 or 21.
He was born June 19th, 2002. He's 20 years old. 20 years young.
There you go. So, this 20-year-old kid, or barely adult, is he's trying to make a name for himself. He's trying to, disrupt everything. Oh, I'm not like these old veterans. I'm the new guy, I'm the new greatest player. And he's trying to, develop his brand of never give up, and it's not over till it's over. And I don't know, this is not how you do it. There's better ways to show your never say die attitude than by, stealing the ball and attempting a layup so you can go down 25 instead of 27 with 8 seconds to go.
So not a classy move, you think?
No, and it's especially more of the fact that the Bulls, they're dribbling out the clock. Don't spit on another person's sportsmanship. If they had the ball and it was the last possession, he goes in and he throws down a hammer dunk because they just had the ball. Okay, whatever. You're still playing hard and you have the ball. But don't do that when they're showing sportsmanship to you.
No, I see what you're saying, especially the fact that the Bulls had waved the white flag. I guess they were winning, so that's...
They were pulling out the victory cigars.
They were pulling out the victory cigars. But from purely an entertainment point of view, which is what you want to see, it's great. I think it's great for the sport. I mean, we're talking about it.
It's great for the sports media. It's really entertaining. It is entertaining.
So I'm all for it.
I just think it's entertaining in the same way a car crash is. It's you don't like it, but you're going to talk about it. So, all right. We're going to take another quick break, and then we'll be back. We'll talk, probably talk a little bit of Utah State football what we're trying to see out of the bye week from them. So we'll be back after this on 106.9 The Fan.
S.E. Needham Jewelers is where Utah gets engaged. We offer a large selection of personalized service and extraordinary benefits with our integrity price guarantee. At Match Quality, you'll find our prices to be as low or lower than any store in the state. We consistently beat any 50 to 70% off sales, internet pricing, or so-called wholesale deals. In fact, we even price our diamonds at internet pricing. So you'll get S.E. Needham quality at internet prices. Open Monday through Saturday 10 to 7, where Utah gets engaged. S.E. Needham Jewelers, middle of the block, at the sign of the clock.
Did you know that we have the largest appliance parts inventory in northern Utah and southern Idaho? If you're a handy person and need a part to finish your repair, chances are we have that part in stock and at a competitive price. Hi, I'm Jeff, a manager here at Darrell's, your one-stop appliance shop for sales, service, and parts. Serving all of northern Utah and southern Idaho for over 52 years. Darrell's, west on Airport Road. Open until 6 on weekdays and 5 p.m. on Saturdays.
Holiday parties and events at the Riverwoods Conference Center offer a festive and fun holiday atmosphere. Paired with catering from the Elements Restaurant, your special occasion can include tasty hors d'oeuvres, delicious entrees, and decadent desserts that always deliver excellence. Now accepting reservations for the 2022 holiday season, the Riverwoods Conference Center and Elements Restaurant can accommodate you whether your event is large or small. Visit theriverwoods.com or call 750-5151.
I think I can. Do you feel like you're chugging up the inflation mountain? This is Zach with HSA Depot, and we can help. Did you know that you can save as much as 30% by using your pre-tax income to buy qualifying medical supplies? Health savings accounts can be used for more than just doctor visits and prescriptions. HSA Depot helps you conquer your inflation mountain and your health care by providing eligible products. Come to HSA Depot next to Sally Beauty and see how much you can save. HSA Depot, 5-star review.
Saturday on Compass Media Network's coverage of NCAA football. Big Ten powerhouses collide as the second-ranked Ohio State Buckeyes take on the 13th-ranked Penn State Nittany Lions. Hi, it's Greg Daniels. Join Tiki Barber and me for all the action as C.J. Stroud and the Buckeyes face a tough road test against Sean Clifford and the Nittany Lions. It's number 2 Ohio State and number 13 Penn State. If it's NCAA football, it's right here.
Saturday morning beginning at 9:30 on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM, and streaming at 1069thefan.com.
My husband had a gun. Him and his friends would go shooting. When he stored the gun, he didn't know. In a million years, we never thought that Emily could. There's a hole in our family that can never, ever be filled.
65 Americans a day die by gun suicide. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn more at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
Talking the sports you care about. The Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Welcome back, Full Court Press. Jason Walker and our guest host, Jacob Nielsen, on for the show. Glad to have him on in lieu of Eric Franson, who was off, out of town, doing who knows what at this point.
He was complaining about the airline service industry earlier via Twitter.
Was he?
Yes.
I didn't check to see what he said. I'll have to go back and make fun of him for it.
Something about Spirit Airline or Southwest or something.
Something.
Typical old people.
Yeah.
Come on his show, just
start bag on him. Trying to get a job. So, I mentioned we talk about Utah State football, and I'll say, unfortunately, I'd like to be able to talk about Utah State in the bye week, what we want to see from them. That was the plan for today. We may still end up doing that, but there is a story that came off the press around noon, right in the middle of lunch, or right at the start, depending on when you have your lunch. Salt Lake Tribune doing some reporting on a lawsuit that was filed against Utah State by a former Utah State football player, Patrick Maddox. He was a linebacker, was here 3 years at Utah State, redshirted in 2019, played in 4 games in 2020, sparingly, mostly special teams, I think. And then 2021, he played in 6 games, he played sparingly in those. And then he missed, I think, the entire back half of the season with an injury. So he filed a lawsuit because I guess the long and short of it is, I guess I should provide this context. So there in 2021, right around the LA Bowl, there was an audio released. And the Tribune reported on it. Was it the Tribune that broke, or was it?
Yeah, it was the Tribune.
Okay. I know KSL did reporting on it too, I believe. At least I think they did.
Yeah, Salt Lake Tribune broke it,
Yeah,
though.
but the Tribune broke because I think Maddox was the one who leaked that audio. I believe he leaked it to the Tribune. And it was about it was a recording of a meeting the Utah State football team had earlier in the year in August of 2021. And it was about, sexual assault and there were some comments made by the Utah State police chief who ended up resigning because of those comments. I think his comments were something about, don't have a relationship with an LDS girl because they might regret it and then say it was sexual assault. He's basically saying that's how it might happen. So he ended up resigning largely because of those comments. Coach Anderson also said some comments about how it has never been more glamorized to be a victim, and the football players would be a target in that regard. So, and that kind of blew up because that's not a very good thing to say. Don't need to have victim blaming out here. And so that kind of blew up. But it was, Maddox released that, quietly, or not so much quietly, but he didn't let anyone know that it was him. But football team seemed to figure it out pretty quickly. And Maddox is saying that he got bullied because of it and was eventually basically forced to quit the team because the coaches didn't do anything about it. Again, these are all his allegations. And you can go read the article for yourself on the Tribune. And I post this on Twitter where I really have to tread lightly with these kind of stories because there are, if what Maddox is saying is true, there's some not good things that he's alleging. And I have to tread lightly because these kind of one-sided stories are always prone to exaggeration, or the one player sees it one, the person alleging these things will say it one, or will interpret it one way, and he just believes there was another negative thing where maybe he just misunderstood something. In this case, Maddox feels wronged, and so he's going to view a lot of things in a negative light. It's kind of this self-perpetuating cycle. Oh, there's another thing that I was wronged, and another, even though some of these things may have been somewhat innocent. And so it's tricky. And it's hard to talk about these. Especially because I think it was said by somebody wiser than me that you cannot cut cheese so fine that there are not two sides. Because there's a side for Coach Anderson on this. And unfortunately, that side may not end up being told. Because Utah State's going to try and probably go hush-hush on this. Or at least not say a whole lot. But, yeah, there's... Basically, it boils down to Maddox being ignored in his, attempts to, get relief for what he says he's bullying up. He was saying, his stuff was vandalized or stolen. He was being threatened to, they were threatening to beat him up and all these different things. And he's saying that the coaching staff and administration were unsympathetic or just straight up ignored him. And again, if that's true, that's not a good look. So, I don't know. I know you read it a little bit before coming on the show. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, this is a really serious story. And it was a big deal when this dropped right before the bowl game. And some of the stuff was, hey, Coach Anderson, when he said got taken out of context, that was kind of the argument from the university. And the police chief, he resigned, right? And that was taken care of internally. And with Anderson, things kind of were resolved with an apology and kind of moved on, right? And what's really interesting about this story is, I think, just the nature of Patrick Maddox. He had a role as a captain on the team, and he was someone that was well liked. I had a chance to speak with him in August, just talking football, right? And so he wasn't a guy on the team that is a name that we're going to talk about, but he was a longtime member of the team and a guy that was liked by teammates and stuff. And so if some of the things that he are saying that happened to him, some of these allegations are accurate, first of all, brave for Patrick Maddox to come forward with this, especially with some of the alleged threats that have been imposed toward him. But to your point, there's a lot, I think, that needs to be uncovered or looked at before we can go on here and start making demands and pointing fingers. We know that the university, with situations like this, there's a rap sheet, right? And so this isn't something that can be taken lightly. And this is, I'm sure the university today, this is PR crisis mode, right? But no, this is a bombshell for middle of the bye week. We're talking, hey, can this team get to 6 wins, right? And now something like this, a former player making these accusations that ultimately, he said, the way he was treated made him feel like he had to leave the team for doing something that he thought was right.
And you mentioned Utah State's rap sheet. I'd like to be able to trust the university to handle this internally, to be able to investigate it. They had another crisis where the end of the COVID year, 2020, and they had that deal with the Colorado State game being canceled and the whole thing about that. And I felt like from what I could gather, it seemed like that one was handled decently well. I don't know if it was handled to satisfaction, because it was kind of we can't exactly figure out what was said, so we're just giving up on it. But it felt like they maybe at least tried. But in a lot of cases with sexual assault, they've not been, competent. They've been shown to, protect their own and, not do the right thing. And so I don't feel like I can trust Utah State to do the right thing here. Maybe they've changed, but top leadership hasn't changed since the previous allegations and all the other allegations. So I don't know if I can trust them to do the right thing. So it makes a situation like this harder because, again, I don't want to point fingers. And I don't want to just say, well, they've done wrong in the past, so they've obviously done wrong here. I don't ever want to say that because every case is unique. But it is just a little frustrating that I don't know if we'll get a good resolution to this. So, again, Utah State's probably not going to even tell their side of the story. I don't know if they'll just try and go some other way to handle this PR crisis. Which is frustrating because if you want to get to the bottom of the story, we want to hear Blake Anderson's side of the story. That's how it would get resolved. Or at least, do better in terms of resolution. Although we've gone all too long, we need to take a quick break here because we've got to get in a break before the hour. We'll cut to break here. We'll try and finish this up. Maybe talk a little bit about this in the next hour. We'll be back here on 106.9 The Fan.
Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat, the Allergy Clinic, and the Hearing Aid Center are now located in Providence, and Cache Valley's newest and most up-to-date medical clinic located at 2245 North, 400 East in North Logan, just south of Cache Valley Hospital. The entire staff and Dr. Benyon, Blotter, and Robinette look forward to helping you and your family at this state-of-the-art medical facility. Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat is now located in Providence, and their new office at 2245 North, 400 East in North Logan. Go to CacheValleyENT.com for details. Most insurance products, including SelectMed, are accepted.
It's game time, and you're in the locker room ready to take the field. But suddenly, you notice a player you don't recognize. He's wearing your team's jersey, and he even knows your name. But you've never seen him before now. Would you trust this stranger with your team's playbook? That's exactly how phishing scams work. And the first quarter of 2022 saw the highest volume of phishing attacks ever recorded. Protect your business with the Les Olson Security Suite from Les Olson IT. Learn more at lesolson.com.
Sunday on Compass Media Network's coverage of the NFL. It's a Week 8 showdown in the NFC as the Dallas Cowboys host the Chicago Bears. Hi, this is Jerry Recco. Join Kevin Ray, Danny White, and myself for all the action as Dak Prescott and the Cowboys go for back-to-back wins. But Justin Fields and the Bears look to play spoiler on the road. Who will come away with the victory? It's the Cowboys and the Bears. If it's the NFL, it's right here.
Sunday morning beginning at 10:30 on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM, The Fan.
This is Nate Lamson with Valley Office Systems, your home team when local matters. Valley Office Systems is your local provider for all things office, copiers, printers, furniture, and document management. Proudly serving Cache Valley since 2007. Visit valleyofficesystems.com.
It doesn't matter who you root for. The Full Court Press has all the high school sports covered. The Full Court Press. Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and online at 1069thefan.com.
All right, just wrapping up the first hour. We only have like 20 or 30 seconds. I apologize. We went a little long on a few segments, so we're going to have like a 20-second segment here. And we'll get more into this in the next hour. We're just going over the lawsuit that's been filed against Utah State. So, like I said, we're just about hitting another break, so I apologize for the quick turnaround here. But we'll be back more in the next hour with more talk about Utah State football and the lawsuit that's been filed.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have a number of problems. Tom Brady dealing with issues on and off the field. Wide receiver room is all banged up. Offensive line's been hurt. That's a major concern. And the Bucs issues don't stop there. The offense has been widely criticized for the inability to put up points, just over 17 a game. And that's been pinned on Brady and the offensive line. But the biggest issue may be the running game. There's no denying the NFL is a passing league, but Tampa's running attack, if you want to call it an attack, has averaged under 65 yards per game. That could be the lowest mark since 1970 if the trend continues. That's a big issue. Potent running game helps keep pass rushers at bay, and when you lack the weapons on the outside, play-action pass can help that offense get a little separation in the passing game. The problem is no one respects that running game, and until that changes, the offensive struggles will only continue. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise.